Hi, welcome back to Box of Delights. In this series we're playing 51st State. There are two basic games. There's 51st State, which is the first game, and then this is followed with the New Era, which is an independent game. You don't really mix these two together. And then thirdly is the Winter expansion, and this will expand either 51st State or New Era. And what I'm going to show you in this series is 51st State with the Winter expansion, and we're going to leave New Era to one side. There's some little components here that we can make use of, but we're going to play 51st State as opposed to New Era, because New Era is a little bit more competitive. There's a lot more aggressive interaction. And when we're playing two-player with my son and I, we prefer the 51st State variant with Winter as well, and Winter's become a favourite, so that's what we're going to do for you in this series. The other thing is that there's a few subtle differences with New Era, so not only does it introduce new cards and some new mechanics, but it also alters subtly some things like the way contact tokens are used, for example, but that may make more sense once you've understood how we play the base game with the Winter expansion. So let's crack on, let's get set up, and we'll learn to play as we play. 51st State is a card game, and we're going to be playing this two-player, but you can play with more. And the idea of this game is that you're battling for victory points. Each one of you plays a faction. So here, for example, we've got Texas, which is introduced by Winter, and Merchants Guild, for example. And you're going to be earning victory points by playing location cards, leader cards, and fighting for influence in order to dominate your competition. Throughout the turns, you'll alternate taking actions, and you'll be spending actions, so it's kind of like action allocation. And the other thing is that Winter expansion is going to confine the game to just 6 rounds. The first thing we need to do is each choose a faction, and there's scope for up to 5 players in this game. And I'm going to play Texas, and my son's going to be Merchants Guild. We also each get one of these faction contact cards, and this is basically like a little reference sheet to tell you how you can use your resources to take the basic actions in the game. The actions of conquest, incorporation and negotiation. Next, the Winter expansion introduces this frozen city, and it's got 2 sides. There's a side for New Era and a side for 51st State. So we're playing 51st State, so we'll use this side and we'll place it up here.
There are 3 types of cards: leader cards, contact cards and location cards. The first thing you're going to do is take these leader cards, shuffle them, and then you place 6 in each. So you put them here and here. There are 3 types of contact cards: incorporation, conquest and negotiation. The blue negotiation cards will be shuffled and placed face down on the blue slot on the frozen city. We will do the same with the conquest cards. The incorporation cards will get shuffled into the main location deck.
So we've shuffled up this deck, and this becomes our main draw deck for the game. And to start things off, we'll each draw 4 cards. Next, we need to grab some faction tokens. I think we've got 4 or 5 of these each. So mine are these kind of bull heads for Texas.
Mine are the blue triangles.
Now we'll each need to place one of our tokens on the score track to record our victory points. And in 51st State it came on the back of the box. But one thing I'm going to steal from New Era is this nice bit of card stock, which is a nice little score tracker. So we'll place that over to the side of the game, and we'll each place one of our faction markers on the 0 spot. And this thing kind of doubles up as a nice handy reference card as well, because one of the things you'll discover is there's a lot of iconography in this game that you'll not have to memorise but be familiar with, and this will help you with that. Youngest player is going to go first, so they get this die. Now, in previous incarnations of this game, you had a first player token, but Winter expansion introduces this die, and it has multiple functions. So one of the functions is it's going to be the first player token, but it also has a different symbol on each side. This is side number 1, and this is kind of a bonus that's going to occur each round, and this game is limited to 6 rounds exactly. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of those 6 rounds is the winner. So first player token heads over there. Each of these 6 turns is divided into 5 distinct phases. The first phase of the game is the lookout phase.
At the beginning of the lookout phase, before players start to take the cards, the top card of each stack on the Frozen City board will be face up.
During a turn, you're going to be building up the cards in your hand and earning victory points by gaining cards from the draw deck. But in addition, the top card in each of these Frozen City spots is going to be available to each of the players. So this is kind of an extra way that rather than having these cards in the draw deck, it makes them more readily available for each of the 6 turns of the Winter game.
Now we reveal 5 cards and place them in the centre of the table.
These 5 cards in the lookout area, these are location cards, and they represent the various buildings, characters, machines and so on that each of our factions can take into their hand and play to the table to develop their faction's power by executing the plans of their leaders, expanding their territories, performing the actions. And we'll see that as we develop the game. But on this lookout phase, the first player gets first choice at picking one of these cards from the lookout area. At the moment, you don't really understand what these mean, but as the game develops, you'll learn which cards are valuable to you and which ones are less valuable.
I am going to choose the Thief's Caravan as my first card.
I'm going to grab the Rubble Trader. And now we've got just 3 cards left to choose. First player gets to choose one more.
I'm going to choose Sharash.
And I think I'll take the Marketplace. This last card gets discarded, and then each player gets to draw 1 card from the top of the draw deck. So I'm going to show you my hand, and my son's going to keep his secret. So we're going to kind of see the game from my perspective, if you like, and get that kind of a 2-player experience. So this is my hand. In this expansion, you've got no hand limit, so we can have as many cards as we like in our hands. And now we're going to move to the next phase. And this phase is called the production phase. Now at the start of the game, you've only got 1 card in play, and that's your faction card, your base card here. And my base card says I collect at the production phase 4 worker tokens. These are worker tokens.
For my production, my base card gives me 3 workers and 1 fuel.
So I get 4 workers, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 3 workers and 1 fuel, right? Excellent. In addition, the turn die gives us a little bonus at the in the beginning of the production phase. This is a contact token. This represents. Okay, and these represent incorporation contact tokens. So we're going to take one of these. You don't know what it means yet, but we'll explain hopefully as we start playing out our actions. Okay, that's production phase. As we develop our territories, we're going to be having more and more cards played out from these locations, and they will be potentially adding things during the production phase. In fact, if you look at this little factory icon, this is something that's going to happen during the production phase. We'll cover that if and when we get those locations out in play. Okay, after production we move into the actions phase, and that's when we start doing things like playing our cards. There's about 10 different actions or more that we can take on a turn. We're going to try and cover all of those during the course of this playthrough.